All right. You ready? I'm going to call this meeting to order. Go ahead.
Wait.
Oh, yeah. 7:05, please stand. Oh, I brought that. Yep.
Wow. Oh, you know what? I might be able to find
Is
one.
it right inside here?
No, the high school I think still has it from Mayday.
Oh.
They still have it? I think so. Oh my goodness.
I keep one in my den.
I could probably put mine digital,
I was going to, yeah.
Yeah, it's well.
On my phone.
I used to steal a flag, but not like this.
yeah. No, it's a different kind of game.
She'll be right back. She's got.
We don't have one. Daniel, is it hard to
Digitally.
do one?
We
Can we find a digital one?
I'll find one.
I better make a note that the high school needs to give us our flag back.
Yes. Or we should have a spare one somewhere.
Mhm.
See?
So I gotta get a big
We have
one.
lots of them.
There we go. So I can get it.
Oh, look at all those choices.
Oh, it took me Amazon. Like, that's pretty ridiculous. This show. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
It's there.
Here,
there.
try this. Let's try this.
There we go.
There we go. There we go.
All right. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Team for going the extra mile. All right. We get to start off our meeting with always the best thing, a recognition of the student volunteer, Hannah Hansen. So, Jay, are you gonna?
Yeah, could I?
Yeah, please.
All right. Let's see, Hannah, could I have you come up with me? And I'm gonna come around there. You can stay right where you're at. Yeah. So each year, the Puget Sound ESD, which serves both our King County and Pierce County, they have a regional art contest. And from that, we have entries from Pierce County that the Pierce County Commission that they select from. And this year, I'm happy to report that there were 50 entries. There's a couple of levels that you can earn awards with. The highest is the Pierce County Executive Award. And so that means that any student from any of our high schools in the 15 school districts, as well as homeschool or private school or any other entity, so it's many entities and many students that that can have this entry. And this year, I am happy to report all over Pierce County, the highest award goes to Hannah Hansen. And without trying to put you too much on the spot, when I saw this, I thought this was a professional, rendition that was just set on my table. And unbeknownst to me, this is actually what she submitted. And I was wondering if you would take a second and share a little bit what your thinking was on it. Or else I can read it. I can read you want me to read what you put down?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it.
Life's a draw, not talk.
Exactly.
So this art piece depicts imprisonment within a system that is outwardly conceived to be beautiful. The hands represent the desire for freedom through their desperate clawing motion. A beautiful prison is a two-dimensional piece that was created with alcohol-based markers and colored pens. So Hannah, for receiving this highest award, receives this beautiful plaque that states Pierce County Executive Award, Puget Sound ESD Regional High School Art Show, Hannah Hansen, 2025, as well as her award here. Pierce County Executive is presented to Hannah Hansen for your entry, A Beautiful Prison, in the 2025 PSESD Regional High School Art Show, signed April 25 by our Pierce County Executive, Brian Mello, and also from our Pierce County Arts Commission, president. And so I wonder if we could have you stand in front of the school board right there, make a stand, and we can get a picture with you. And let's do this way. No, yeah, let's have you. You would hold your card, and then we'll how about do something like this.
We're gonna need to, maybe, you guys should stand like where you normally would sit, because otherwise you're blocking half the board.
How about this side?
There we go, there we go.
And then I'll just switch this.
That is much better.
Mirror image.
You get all the things. Awesome, all right. Great smiles, everyone. Fantastic.
Great. And did you have any questions for Hannah?
Are you gonna aspire to do art in college?
I'm gonna go into architecture.
Yes. So, yes, okay.
And tell me where you're thinking. Tell me where you're thinking.
I'm gonna go to the University of Arizona.
Oh, okay. That's great. So what inspired that piece of art?
I kind of just wanted to draw a building. Because I don't really draw buildings that much, but I knew I wanted to go into architecture, so I was like, I'll just start.
Well, you did beautiful.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Congratulations. I'm going to send you home with some things here. Right. I'm going to go back and grab this box.
I'm having technical difficulty. I'm sharing my screen and it's not popping up.
Send it to me real quick. Let's make it pop up.
There you go.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
I send it to the webmaster, I guess.
You are welcome to leave. You don't need to stay for the whole meeting. Thank you for coming. And congratulations.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
Very proud.
Amazing. Thank you so much. All the best.
Have a great evening.
I saw her at CC years and years ago. She was already an artist.
Really?
Wow.
How about that?
Just a gift, right?
Sometimes.
All right. Well, our student representatives are not here. Bailey is officially graduated. So, and with the year coming to a close, I don't know that we'll be seeing them, but if we don't see them again, I just want to express my gratitude for all that they've done as student representatives. I would consider, are there any changes or additions to the agenda? Cassie, do we have any changes or additions?
We had no changes.
All right. I would consider a motion to, let's see. There's no consent.
Oh, there's no
agenda?
consent to agenda.
Okay.
Agenda.
I thought maybe I was missing. So there's no consent agenda. So, but we're not changing the regular agenda. And now we're going on to hearings of individuals and groups, and no one has signed up. So we're on to reports and presentations. Is Amy coming?
I thought she was coming, but
Yeah, but we can go
Yeah,
forward.
let's just go ahead and if she makes it in, we'll come back, circle back,
Sure.
and then we'll go to Sally for the high school science curriculum.
Yeah, great. Well, I'm happy to report this year, and as you know, if those of you who were, I didn't make it, but for one, we had 127 graduates, and that unbelievably puts us at 98.4% graduation rate. 98.4. So
Is that the
highest
we've been? No.
it's close. It's very close.
Very close.
When you get to 98 with that many students, it's between 1 and 2 students. Sometimes we'll have someone that may leave us, but they're still on our record, which was the last time the case. And I think if they would have stayed, then we would have had.
I haven't added anything.
I guess the bottom line is that there were 2 students this time. And so if I might just say, one student was residing with a relative within our district and attended part of 9th grade at our school. During that time, they experienced significant attendance challenges. The student later relocated to another in-state area, but did not re-enroll in school and Despite several attempts to contact the family and listed emergency contacts, we were unable to establish communication. So the student was withdrawn in the spring of 2022. So that's the student I was talking about. So basically, but the good news on that is that we did everything we could, reaching out and trying to continue to help them move toward graduation, which is just an amazing thing. Student 2, the student was living with a relative in our district and attended, let's see, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'll go back to it. Student was residing with a relative within our district and attended part of, let's see. I'm sorry, this is oh, the second student was also living with a relative in our district and attended 9th grade at our school. They withdrew in the fall of 2022 with plans to re-enroll in an online program, but ultimately did not complete the enrollment process. Over the past few years, we maintained occasional contact with the student and their family, consistently offering support and options for re-enrollment. Although they have expressed verbal interest in returning, there's been no follow-through, and we're still hopeful that the student will re-engage with Graduation Alliance at some point before the age of 21. So still not giving up on the 2 students, but those did count against our graduation rates, otherwise we would have had 100%.
Awesome.
Just wanted to report that.
Thank you, and we appreciate knowing the stories of those kids. All right. Sally, are you ready to present? Are you still waiting
So
for
we're
her?
having technical difficulties, Sally. I'm not able to share my screen or see the meeting.
Well, you do have the PowerPoint presented in your
Yes.
packet, and I'll just walk you that way unless.
Okay. If you need more time, we can have Jay go on.
Because his stuff would have been on my screen too. So weird.
Okay.
And you guys have everything printed. It's just
Yep.
the folks at home, and Susan, of course, won't be able to see all of our.
Okay.
You printed your stuff?
Okay, I
Okay.
do.
Good job.
She's got it.
She's got it.
So I would like to speak to high school course materials for cybersecurity and wildlife biology. As you know, that this is about reaching higher for academic success, and it ties to our strategic plan, especially strategic objective, the first bullet in our plan, which is we will promote a culture that prioritizes academic success through rigorous curriculum and instruction. We had the opportunity. I'm going to talk a little bit about the process and then talk about a little bit about the presentation to the IMC Instructional Materials Committee. So when we adopt materials, there's always a teacher team that comes together, and my role is to put materials that are highly rated before the team, and then we go through a review process with those materials. And during that time, we narrow the scope of materials we want to recommend to the IMC to see if they would, or share with the IMC and share the process that we use to evaluate those materials. So we have the teacher team, then that team presents, first evaluates and presents those materials to the IMC. And the role of the IMC Instructional Materials Committee is to ensure that we follow the criteria, which is outlined in board policy, board procedure. And then we would make our recommendation to IMC. And then I am coming forward tonight to bring that recommendation forward to see if the board will approve these materials.
Sally, may I ask a question? So these materials were reviewed by teachers, and then they were put forward with recommendation from a teacher to you, and you brought it to the Instructional Materials Committee, and it has not been in front of students prior to being in front of the Instructional Materials Committee.
These materials were not really available to pilot. We did do this in a shorter timeline than we've done previous ones. Okay. They have not been piloted to students.
Okay, thank you.
So the Instructional Materials Committee talked about the likelihood of impact, and I'll speak a little bit of that. We looked at alignment, so we use the EQUIP rubric, which is recommended by the state, the science rubric that looks at the science materials to rate them, and more of that information is in here, and I will get to that. We also, one of the courses, the cybersecurity course, is a CTE course, which means it has to fit within the CTE framework. Eatonville partners with Bethel's program for CTE. For the last 10 years, they've been using Project Lead the Way materials. This is a course that's within the Project Lead the Way materials that does fit that framework. Course materials and course. So we looked at flexibility and differentiation components, meaning can we differentiate the materials for students at different levels? Can we challenge our high kids with these materials? And can we adapt them for kids who might, for instance, need a different reading level? Know that with science, these science materials, in Project Lead the Way, there are lots of options to really differentiate well. In the wildlife biology materials, it's more about teacher strategy and what they may do to accommodate kids who might need, especially lower reading level. There's a lot of advancement in materials that we adopted. They're not adopted, that we're recommending that are high level rigor, the text in particular. We looked at equitable access, so how can kids access materials? These will be, both of them are digital platforms for learning. There are also supplemental materials that teachers are bringing into that to also make it very hands-on and project focused, which then gives different accesses for kids. So using UDL strategies, creating different learning opportunities with the way they present and teach the materials. Presentation on differing viewpoints within the materials. So, for instance, we looked at different texts for wildlife, 3 different texts. Know that there's not a lot of text out for wildlife biology at the high school level. Actually, what we're recommending came from one of the universities in the Northwest, Montana, University of Montana. We eliminated a few of those textbooks because they were, I would say, very dry, just all facts, not a lot of, we want it to be visually pleasing or inviting for kids. We want it to represent different groups, different career paths, which were all in the text that we picked. So that also takes us back to considering formats. So we want to see graphs, we want to see headings, we want to see different formats to understanding materials, not just written text. And we saw that. And then basically for the pieces around bias, which are part of the EQUIP rubric, really we were just looking at self-reflection, right? When we look at scientific interpretations, was there any representation of one leaning a specific viewpoint? There was not. And we looked at the fields of conservation and biology and made sure that multiple roles were, I guess, represented in the materials, multiple roles in different career paths in conservation biology. And also we looked at the viewpoints around things like endangered species too. So all seem to be very scientifically based. So we're really happy with that. Cybersecurity, we ensured that the curriculum showcased different career paths as well, not just one leaning in one avenue. We looked at real world examples, right, to make sure that it's current. The pictures, the graphics, how people are represented is very current. And then accessible language. A lot of times in the tech field, we have a lot of jargon when we have concepts presented, and we wanted to make sure that that was not the case and it was easily understandable for students, regardless of prior knowledge and background. So, when we went through this, we asked why new course materials. Our biology materials, I won't remember the exact date, but they're like 1990 materials that we have in our current biology classes. This would update that biology, but also give a more focus to the area in which our kids are growing up in, as well as across the USA. When you look at the text.
And I'd like to add that it was, wildlife biology was requested by the students.
Yes.
It was a student request, that we provide that to science. So I think that's really cool too.
Yes, that topic, it narrows the scope from just biology in general, and I think it creates interest when we talk about wildlife, when we talk about career paths for that. So yes, Rhonda's correct. Without knowing, specifically our content, because we're waiting to decide on tonight, we had over 90 kids sign up right away when they saw wildlife biology versus biology. So there is interest, and we want to teach the kids interest. So. So why new courses and materials? We see that our SBA scores for science at 11th grade, we have 32% of our kids meeting science standards at proficient, level 3 or higher. The state is now kind of changing how they present data. And so in 2024, 46% of students were at level 2 or higher, and they're calling that the foundational level. So there's also a growing demand for STEM career preparation in light of AI and other things, especially around the cybersecurity course, and also the career preparation. This lends to specifically to careers when we talk about wildlife biology. Industry alignment, we took a look at that, doing some research around that. It's in different research pieces, 60,000 projected science tech job openings will be seen across our country and specifically to our area in 2030. With that increase, rising cybersecurity threats and workforce demands in light of new technology that keeps happening and changing for our kids and for adults. And then, of course, specifically the interest in this area around environmental conservation, career pathways, and growing up in the Pacific Northwest. So student engagement, we looked at that in career connections. There was a presentation by, I should name our great teachers who did a lot of speaking at the IMC, Randy Bushnell, first year teacher here, teaching the wildlife biology course, and of course Travis Collins will be teaching the cybersecurity class, and they both spoke, and Randy also had a PowerPoint presentation, which I'm sorry I did not include in there, but went through her love and interest and how she wants to focus the class if these materials were approved. So career pathway development, there's definitely industry certifications for cybersecurity that could go along within our cybersecurity class, as this is a CTE class. In our wildlife biology Brandy is already building connections to environmental agencies. She's very excited about that, from tribal connections as well as fish and wildlife, Mount Rainier. Those are all pieces that she mentioned. It's definitely both classes would be project-based learning focused. So lots of project work, hands-on learning. Standards alignment, we looked at standards and academic rigor. Key standards that stood out when we did the research, you'll see listed in one of the slides. Mine are not numbered the same way yours are. Maybe they are.
So I'm trying to do
So you'll see the
so
three
I can
key
get it.
standards for each area: cybersecurity with the next generation
how
science
about you
standard alignment and the computer science standards. And then of course, wildlife biology is also aligned to specific standards under
Because I
the
can
next
always email
generation
it to you
science
and then you
standards.
can share your screen
So that
if you want to do it that way.
So
I try saying as a PDF.
rationale and ratings, I think I already spoke
Something like that.
to. The equip rubric, and on the next slide, slide 8, shows our scoring, but the equip rubric rating tool is used to assess the areas for both set of materials. And then we also had community input opportunities. Materials were available for viewing. They could make an appointment, they could stop by.
To Webmaster.
Because it's digital, we still have laptops out there. We would get them signed on and let them look through all the materials. Key selection that really brought us to where we are with a strong standards alignment. They like the multiple learning modalities. Say that fast 3 times. The digital and physical resources, including the partnerships with agencies, and then diverse representation where we talk about careers and different representation of digital tools. They had clear assessment tools for students. So there's online digital assessments, and in the wildlife piece, it actually scores all of it, but the writing part for the teacher. So that's pretty amazing. She was pretty excited about that. So again, the equip rubric ratings on slide 8. This is the next generation. These are the 3 components, and underneath that in each rubric had a lot of detail that we had to look at. But in general, the next generation science standard design for these materials, the team rated at 3 out of 3, so the highest rating. Instructional supports, meaning when we talked about differentiation, project learning, we gave it a 2.5 out of 3. That was specific that the teacher is going to have to build in more project-based pieces. So that was why that rating's a little lower. And then monitoring student progress. It seemed like there were great pieces where kids got to reflect up front, like what do you know and what are your interests? If they read a short section and then they write right away, and then they get into the material in depth, and then she can reflect back on their interests or their original thoughts about materials. So, cybersecurity, again, same criteria we were looking at, and you can see how that was rated. I did not put in the framework. We did review the CTE framework as well. So, but again, pretty good alignment. Again, instructional supports was just a little bit lower. And monitoring student progress, particularly in the cybersecurity and our project Lead the Way, have multiple ways that kids can assess and show their
Shared all
And
the stuff with
Did
the
you mention,
master.
I think I remember this being part of the
I'm
support for that
Not
curriculum
getting
that's really good
anything
professional
through.
development.
Yes,
For
thank
Project
you,
Lead the Way.
yes. So Project Lead the Way has a ton of professional development.
Okay, you
It
can send
just
it to
so
me?
happens that Travis Collins, in particular, has been
Yeah,
very
just send it to me.
interested in this, and he's already taken,
Nothing's coming
he
through
said
here.
80 hours of professional development for this course. He took, I believe, last summer, so he was very excited to teach this course. Thank you, Rhonda, for remembering that. So on page 9, I think I spoke to most of these points, basically the steps in the selection process. I already stated that, but just summarize that one more time. And then we talked a little bit about student engagement. Teachers felt that there was engaging learning strategies, some of which I've spoken to. Definitely hands-on. Cybersecurity has a lot of labs, and then hoping to engage students in field work in the biology class. Definitely real-world applications. Aligns nicely with our graduation pathway options. Technology integration is really important as we continue to move forward in a world that becomes more and more technology-driven. Career preparation, I think I spoke to some of these. We're hoping for some maybe internship opportunities. One of the teachers talked about that. And of course, possibly local workforce connections. And then partnerships, definitely tribal partnerships and conservation organizations as well. So on that,
I did. I wanted to also mention that legislation has been put forward, and I think it passed, that our students will be required to have a computer science credit, and this fulfills that credit, correct? So it's
Yes.
really important that we get that through.
Yes. So I included in your packet the purpose of this report and making a recommendation from the Instructional Materials Committee to the Eatonville School Board to consider the adoption of the cybersecurity materials from Project Lead the Way and the Introduction to Wildlife Management and Conservation North America, published by Great River Learning. And you will see we've already paid for the Project Lead the Way materials because they come with all the other courses that we are currently teaching, so it's not an increased cost, but we will need to pay for the wildlife management digital materials, and that cost for 90 seats is $4,860. That does include professional development. Note that when we looked at other places, some professional development would have been another $1,000. It's included in this price. And actually bargained them down from $77 a kid to $56, so that was pretty good. So we are asking that we consider the approval of these materials for the 25-26 school year for 10th through 12th grade students.
Thank you, Sally. Appreciate that work, and we will be considering that under new business, which is up right after Jay gives us an update on the track in the field.
Yeah, did we get it now?
Oh,
There we
looks
are.
like we got the field up there.
Okay. Well, just to review, so last year, our voters approved a capital projects levy, a 6-year levy, which has allowed us to address a long overdue replacement of the track in our field. So as you know, we've been working very hard on this for a number of months, and months going into a year even. And so after an awful lot of work on a lot of people's part and a lot of consideration, we now have our final product for what this levy will pay for. We allocated about $3.5 million for this. And so if you look up here, if you were at the bottom looking up, and you see
Oops,
the
I'm so
EC,
sorry.
That's okay.
Back on me, my bad. There you go.
There we go. Then we would be seeing in the stands at the bottom where it says field rendering looking up. So you'll see it starting in the center of the field. We will have EC for Eatonville Cruisers, and those will be blue with a white outline, which looks very good with our end zone. It'll say all caps Eatonville on the north end and Cruisers on the south end. You'll also notice that we have black around the outside. Those are for the soccer boundaries. And then we need where the goalpost sits, the goal box. And you can hardly see it on purpose. That's gray, but that's a necessary thing so we can make sure that we know when there are kicks, penalty kicks and such, that there will be placed in the correct place. And so as you can see, we will have gray there, and then the black box for the outer part, which is where the free kick happens. And then we will have yellow goalpost. We're going to have the extended tall goalpost so that we can see that referees can see a little easier if it was actually if it was good or not. And we will also have play clocks at the end of each end zone so the quarterback and the field managers can make sure that they have the right amount of time and can see when they need to get the play off. We will include in this, although I don't have a picture of it right now, a scoreboard. And the scoreboard will, we are working on a sponsor for that. I hesitate to say that right now because nothing has been finalized, but stay tuned on that one. But that will allow us to have a new and updated scoreboard. For the most part, that will be down by where the shot put is on that side of the tennis courts. So that will be placed there. So that is our field. Any questions on the field portion of our project? It's going to be
The track. You
yeah,
mentioned the track color.
yeah, and maybe so you can also see how it's light green, dark green. That makes it really easy for you to know kind of where you're at on the field. You know, as you think of it, first down being 10 yards. That's something else I wanted to point out. So the track around the outside will be black. So that's going to look really, really great with what we've selected for our boundaries. Yeah, so that's pretty much the field. Any questions or comments on the field?
I thought we had the
terracotta.
Terracotta.
Yeah.
We did originally, and then what happened was when the group met and they really wanted to, I should say we, really wanted to get some color in the end zone. And so when you saw the blue and white, and then we, when you consider black around the soccer outline, then black just looks so much better. And so we checked in to see if there's an additional cost. There was not. And so then when we looked at the whole thing, it actually looked better. So we actually did switch. Good memory. Yeah.
I thought there was like the heat absorption.
We did talk about that. And so that was a question. And what we found out after all was that if you are in Texas or in California, Arizona and such, you would not, if you can, try to avoid black tracks. But up here, we don't have too many. When track season is on, what we found out was after all that it doesn't heat up terribly. Yeah, so should be a beautiful, beautiful field, very similar, the turf quality to that of the University of Washington, their practice field. So as you know, we also have this. Maybe we can go next to the Paul Bunyan. You can find that.
Yeah, this look here.
So
Bunyan.
great. So one of the amazing things that's happened, and I know some of you have been part of this, is that we have been offered this Paul Bunyan statue that is owned by the Mount Rainier Scenic Railroad, located in Mineral, Washington. And so at no cost, they've offered that to us. And so we've been going to work, making plans to see how we might be able to bring that down here. The thought at this point would be perhaps you know of some football teams where when they come out on the field, first thing they do is they touch something. It's like their kind of luck thing. You know, it could be a rock in one place, or it could be something else in another. So the thought is that we would place this where our football players come out, or anybody from the locker room for that matter, and come out and perhaps touch the butt of the X, and as they come out to kind of get excited and whatnot. So it would be facing our stadium, so the stadium can see it, but also be kind of visible and be where the students can come out, the student athletes can come out and touch that. So we're just working to make that the correct time, but we've been lining up cranes and some other things. I appreciate Cassie and work on that. So that's going to be, I think, it's going to be an amazing stadium when we're all said and done. Just a place where you want to be.
This guy's like 16 feet tall. He's big. He's big. And the other thing about these Paul Bunyans is, you know, the trolls that people travel around. People also travel around to find these Paul Bunyans throughout the United States. So he's a collector and also something that people travel to see.
Yeah.
So it's kind of interesting.
We'll also keep cameras on it, so we keep it safe and sound as well. And yeah, so that's pretty amazing. So while we don't have a huge rendering of the actual stadium, could you pull up the stadium?
No, we weren't sharing that.
Or just the picture of the Forks, right?
Oh, I did forget to pull that up. We talked about it and I forgot.
That's okay.
I'll send it to
Well, I'll start talking while we bring that up. So you have before you just the general plans. We want to let you know that we have ordered that. It's on its way, and it takes 6 to 8 months to get, but we are ordering it ahead of time, and that is a stadium that was not included in our package for our levies, but thanks to a lot of work of a lot of people, including Krista Hirsink and others, and our legislators, and going down to legislatures such that we had allocated $3.5 million to the track and field, and we're almost going to match that for a stadium. So that's not local monies, that's monies outside that are being brought in. So I hope our public is excited about that part. And that will seat approximately 1,222 students. So this will allow us now this to have a roof, a back, a little bit of side, and on the stadium where the seating is, but then siding along the side. So it'll be finished. It will not be bleachers. It'll actually be a beautiful stadium, and will be better protected. And so that will be. We have the demolition. We have everything from the city that we can for permitting and such. So that's everything is already built from the city.
Yeah.
It's now just a matter of we're waiting for the final approval from the Recreation and Conservation Office, the RCO office. And second we get that, then we'll start turning ground. It just is a process, but we've been pushing along as fast as we could. So we'll keep you updated on the timeline.
Need to.
Along with that, we'll also have the restrooms. We will have at this point 4 individual restrooms that will be new and will be actually brought in with the crane as well and be dropped down and will be instantly ready for use. It's very similar to the visitor center. If you want to go see what that is, and so we'll be coordinating all of these efforts according to when we actually get final approval, so we can just make it be like clockwork and seamless.
The stadium colors.
Yeah. So our stadium colors we will have colors in terms of the risers will be blue. We'll have 2 different colors of blue, and then the actual press box will be a gray with white trim around it. So again, it's going to be really, beautiful, as well as very durable. This is not our exact stadium, but it's very similar to what our stadium will be. Just not yellow when you see there, but this is Forks, and so it'll be very similar.
Nice box.
Yeah. Okay, I think that's all the updates for the stadium at this point, and we'll just give you regular updates, and especially as things start moving along quickly when we get that final approval. Thank you.
All right, thanks. Any questions for Jay about anything that's going on with the track field stadium? Okay. All right. So we're going to move on to new business. I would consider approval of the high school science curriculum.
Motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
And any opposed? Okay, hearing none. And that's for both science curriculums, correct? All right, thank you. And then approval of updated policy 6970. Did everybody have a chance to read it? Okay. Yeah, really simple. And so I would consider a motion to approve 6970.
Sorry, who moved that? Sorry. Paulette. I say.
All right, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Superintendent comments.
Well, as always, there's just a lot of great things that are happening. And we're just so grateful for our dedicated staff and supportive community as we are moving things forward. Always trying to align everything we do, all decisions, to the end of our strategic plan, particularly student development and student academic success and student development or student wellness, student experience. And so one of the things I wanted to point out was that although nothing official yet, because it's not official yet, we are seeing incredible great gains. I want to commend Sally and her team for a very successful adoption of our magnetic curriculum, our ELA curriculum at the elementary level, as well as the efforts in both English language arts as well as math. So we were recently recognized in the entire Pacific Northwest as one of just a few school districts that included California, Oregon, and Washington. So that was a regional meeting, and Idaho. Yeah.
Wow.
And so we were honored to receive, and I'll pass this over so you can see it in just a second, that we're one of the school districts that had at least one school, and that'll be mystery at this point because we still have some scores coming in, and we'll see if it's one or more schools, but we know we'll unveil that as we know, and that'll be something to look forward to. Well, at least one school where students averaged 30 to 49 minutes of lesson or usage of the curriculum per week with a pass rate of 70% or higher. So what that really means is that the trajectory to meet their stretch goals and to be on grade level or above it's in place. That our students are now moving up after COVID and such. They are moving forward, and they are not only moving forward, but they're sometimes at rates higher than would be expected.
Yeah.
And so we received that recognition both for math as well as for ELA. And so I'll pass that over. So stay tuned. There'll be more of these coming forward, I'm sure. And we'll let you know the official scores once they come out this summer. Yeah. And then just to point out that Eatonville is a special place with a lot of people who are just excellent and outstanding in their field. And so on June 7th, one of our students that just graduated, Bodie Turner, was featured on the Real Light magazine. He's perhaps the best archer in the world right now. And he's 18. And so he's won what's called the prestigious Vegas shoot twice in the last 4 years, including this year. And will immediately start a career as a professional archer. And I think what's even more remarkable about that is that two things. One is that he carries a GPA, unbelievably, of 3.76, in addition to being all over the world competing. And then the second part is that he regularly shares his expertise with young students interested in archery. So he comes down to Eatonville Middle School, for instance, and works with Eric Danielson, who has introduced adaptive archery classes to students. And so you've not only got one of the greatest in the world, but you also have one of the greatest in the world off, when he's not with his bow. And so I just wanted to point that out, that, we are just so proud of our students and their excellence and for the support that they get as they realize their dreams. And there's another example of that. I think that was everything tonight. Thank you.
Ashley?
Nope, got nothing, but this is very cool. I just want to read it.
Yeah, for sure.
It's that picture.
I just want to say thank you for all the hard work and the curriculum adoption. And I am excited for that. And I mean, we're in a perfect place to adopt wildlife curriculum and cybersecurity. I mean, being at the mountains and then the neighbor of Seattle and, all the cyber jobs and everything there. So I think we're really working at setting our kids up for the future that surrounds them, locally and to our neighbors. So I think we're going to be ahead of the game. So I appreciate that. And just congratulations to all our graduates last weekend. And that was an awesome experience. It's so amazing to see your past students walk across the stage and to witness their growth over the years. And one thing I've been going through a placement with a elderly woman into assisted care, and actually one of her caretakers is one of my past students. And that was really just awesome. So just what our students are doing is an amazing thing. So that was really nice walking in, and I actually left her this evening in his care. So that was awesome. But anyways, yeah, just we're doing great things, and I'm proud of our district.
I too enjoyed high school graduations. It always goes so well, and the students, although they're extremely excited and fun, they're still very orderly and do things in the right fashion that they should be, and things go really, really well. And then I had the privilege of being at 8th grade graduation at Columbia Crest, and then last night kindergarten graduation. We had 21 kindergartners last night, so that's one of our biggest classes, and they their presentation was fun and exciting. And what was always fun for me is when I go to a kindergarten graduation, I try to sit near or behind someone who has a younger child, because they have been well versed in all that their older sibling has been learning, the songs and the motions, and to watch them. This little boy last night was incredible. He was so funny and so much fun. And I spoke with his parents afterwards, and they really appreciated that he was recognized for something other than mischievousness. So it's just always, I love doing that every year. I try to find a spot where I can find that younger sibling and watch them and see how they perform the different motions and songs, and stuff that the kindergartners do, and to see how appreciative the parents were last night. I felt that they really appreciated all that was done for their children. So we're doing a lot of things right, and those are the things that aren't necessarily marked in grades or attendance, but they're noticeable.
Very well said, Paula. So true. There is so much good going on in our families and our schools and our kids. I'm just really proud and honored to serve in this position. The other thing that I agree with everything you said about graduations and all those great things. But the other thing I've noticed this last couple of weeks is how much our community has stepped up and is supporting in so many ways.
Yes.
The foundation is raised over $90,000 for our stadium so far in their seat sponsorship. And I'm certain that that number will continue to increase before that fundraiser is done. Sarah Ackerman, who helped chair the Community Day event, presented to the Eatonville Town Council to ask that we might be able to have a cooperative agreement between the Eatonville Business Association, Eatonville School District, and the town. And they had nothing but praise about the great things that had happened on May Day. So thank you to Jay and to all of the community that came together in that committee. It was really a great event, and the town council recognized that, and I appreciate that as well. Right now, our district office staff is working double time. These two women are just exhausted, I'm sure, by all the hard work, as well as Brandon and Krista and Lindsay. So thank you to all that you're doing at the end of the year, and teachers are hanging in there strong. We sure appreciate all of you. I'm really looking forward to our reflection on our SIP plans. So at the beginning of the year, the principals came to us and said, these are the things that we need to work on. We had a little check-in, and at the end of the year, end of this month or next month?
I think we're in time for end of this month.
Okay, end of this month, they're going to come back and say, this was our goal, and this is where we are now, and this is what we're going to work on. So I'm really excited and grateful for their vulnerability and willingness to come and share that with us. And then I wanted to thank OHOP Mutual, because I believe that this is the third article that's related to students that they've had in there in the last, I don't know, 3 or 4 months. So I'm very grateful that they give us not us, but our community and our students so much focus. It really says a lot about them and all they do for our community. All right, with that, I'm sure I'm missing lots of good stuff, but Daniel, thanks for being here.
Of course.
I appreciate you. And we'll call this meeting to close at 7:52.
You guys should always just ask me afterwards, and I'll just be like, you guys.
Did you want to add something? Do we need to sign anything today?
No, because we didn't, yeah, Leslie needed to sign something for the curriculum, because we didn't do minutes, we just needed to approve her curriculum, that was the only thing.
Okay, otherwise it was just
The policy and that, you guys have to sign,
That's
for that, it just has to be marked in my minutes, yeah.
This is super exciting. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, team.
Thank you, Daniel, I don't know what is wrong, what you guys can think of is that,
And I'll give this back to you.
going to that from the
Yeah.
computer, I think was not the step.